9,
get caught
8,
on a live
7,
mic.
6, 5, 4, and I think you can go now.
Hello, and welcome to the weekly wrap with the USA Liberalists. Tonight we have our hosts here, Cody and Jordan.
Hello.
Today we have a few different topics we're going to cover.
Yeah, PewDiePie's
first,
playing Minecraft. That's probably the most important topic. I think we need to just skip all the other fucking news. We have breaking news right here with the USA. Well, okay, I guess we're just the weekly wrap right now. I'm not sure what's going on with that. PewDiePie is playing Minecraft. It is important. We all need to support this. And shame on you bastards for getting Jurgen killed in the Nether. That's all I have to say about it. Alright, moving on to actual news.
Minecraft is fun.
Minecraft is fun. It's actually like it was a meme like 10 years ago when it. How old is that game again? Whatever. But
I don't know. It's pretty old.
It's old at this point, and it's still popular. Like I think it's time for everyone to admit it's a good game. I'm just saying.
Oh man, it's addicting. It's like just super fun.
Oh, do you play Minecraft?
I used to, but I was playing it too much, so I stopped.
you want to complain? Want to complain on my Minecraft roguelite server?
Well, I had to download the game again. I had it on my Xbox, so got to get on the computer, you know.
I was about to say,
sucks.
like, wait, what? I was like, you can't play any mods on the Xbox though. Although the newest Minecraft actually has a lot of cool features. Okay, we are literally not talking about the news at all right now. That was supposed to be like
Minecraft
a 30-second
version
joke.
of the weekly wrap.
That was supposed to be like a 30-second joke. All right, moving on.
All right, we are big nerds.
We are big nerds. In case anyone hadn't noticed,
we're gonna take a look at Trump's 4th of July celebration.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Nothing crazy happened, but I just want to look at like how some of the media covered it, specifically the failing New York Times, because it's always entertaining.
Can I just point out that the New York Times like intro photo to this with like the planes flying out of the Jefferson Memorial looks awesome.
Right, looks badass. They had some good photos in here, so whoever took the photography, they did a pretty good job. So we'll look at those.
It looks great. How could they possibly... I haven't actually read this article. You just sort of sent this to me. Like, he literally sent this to me and was like, dude, you need to make sure this gets pulled up. Pull up an archive, fucking pay for the New York Times. I don't give a shit. Make sure you get this put in there.
Yeah, I wanted, like, just some of the stuff they wrote in here, and then some of the pictures. Some of them are... We'll get into it.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about Nike pulling their Bettsy Ross flag shoes.
Boo.
And the controversy around that. And then we'll talk about the attack on Andy Ngo. So buckle up, guys. It's going to be another Portland-heavy episode.
Fucking... Like, I thought we were done with Oregon for a little bit, but apparently Oregon's going to be, like, the nexus point of the culture war, so... Yeah, I guess that's just where we're fucking at.
It's where all the on-the-ground stuff is happening, I guess.
I figured it would be, like, California. Or New York.
Well, no. Portland,
maybe Michigan.
It's protest season right now, so...
It's protest season.
We're going to see more of that. Well, yeah, you know how some people have, like, blues festivals or, like... You know, beer festivals. We have those, too, but we also have protests on top of it, so... You know, it's great.
I love that you have, like, a whole season that you just know is going to be full of fucking protests.
Well, Tim Pool kind of, like, pointed it out, and I realized that it was true just from observing it for a couple of years, that there's more protests in the summer because people are more likely to go outside.
That really says something about the nature of the protests, that it's like, oh, no, it's too chilly. I don't care that much.
Well, in Oregon, it rains a lot.
Get a fucking slicker. Jesus Christ.
Well, most people don't care, but... Some people don't want to go stand in the rain for hours protesting something silly, I guess.
I bet Martin Luther King would have stood in the rain protesting for hours. Because it was important, damn it.
It's hard to light cop cars on fire when it's raining.
That's true. I guess I was giving them too much credit, let's be real.
Right. So they take their protests into City Hall.
right.
training, actually. Which actually happened. One time, I was an Antifa guy who was in City Hall and was standing in front of the barricades to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what's stopping us from just going up there and pulling Ted Wheeler out? Trying to get the crowd to get into it, but the crowd wasn't really responding to him. I'm like, yeah, try it. Come on, buddy. Just try it.
Sounds like a terrible idea on so many levels.
Well, it's because there were cops and security there, too, so it's...
Well, I mean, even if there weren't cops and security, you can't just... you can't just go pull someone the fuck out.
Well, he thought he could. He probably would have done it, with Antifa, if they can get enough people around them, they get bold, but if they're on their own, they're just fucking cowards.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, all right. We'll go into that when we start talking about Andy, about how fucking cowardly Antifa is.
All right. Well, we're going to go away from this awesome picture of that show. Full article.
Yeah, so I wanted to look at the first two, or not the first two, the second and the third paragraphs.
Okay.
And see how they describe, because they're describing two different crowds here. There was the Trump rally thing, not rally, the President Trump's celebration, whatever you want to call it. And then there was also another concert that they had on the other side of the mall that they typically have. So the first one is the non-Trump thing. Okay. So they say, I guess I could read it. Can you move it down a little bit?
Oh, I figured you just had it pulled up. All right, here. Oh, you're on the fucking 10-second delay. Hold on.
Yeah. Do you just want to read it?
Sure. Which paragraph am I starting from?
On the Capitol side Thursday.
Oh, I already had it pulled down. Yeah, on the Capitol side Thursday afternoon, a smattering of mostly local residents, some carrying picnic campers, waited in the humid weather for the traditional Independence Day concert, featuring singer-songwriter Carole King, the National Symphony Orchestra, a special guest appearance by the Muppets, and fireworks at nightfall. Okay.
So basically, the non-Trumpers are children.
What the fuck?
No, but it sounds quaint,
okay, whatever. It's wholesome. Whatever.
Oh, look at these sweet, cute, innocent people. Now, here's the Trump people. That's the next paragraph.
All right. So, innocent Muppet watchers. On the Lincoln Memorial side, a raucous crowd of President Trump's faithful that sentence I feel like is a little fucked up. Wearing red hats and plastic rain ponchos, pushing strollers, leaning on canes, and lugging lawn chairs, chihuahuas, and at least one Great Dane. Okay, began arriving more than 6 hours before Mr. Trump's scheduled speech. All right, they even got Scooby-Doo and Shaggy on Trump's side. Good for them. Right.
Well, it's a raucous crowd, and that they're leaning on canes and pushing strollers. Kind of makes them sound a
little redneck.
I mean, yeah.
It was most of the lawn chairs that did that.
They're going to NASCAR event, They got their chihuahuas, and I'm surprised they didn't say with a 6-pack Coors Light or Bud Light or whatever,
Is chihuahuas like a redneck thing? That's more of like a Mexican stereotype.
Well, ponchos and chihuahuas, I guess, diversity.
Okay, I don't think when they say rain ponchos, they've got a whole bunch of extremely weather-conscious mariachis lugging their chihuahuas behind them.
They talk about that later too. It's funny. But no, yeah, I mean, chihuahuas could be kind of redneck if you just the little yippy chihuahua that follows the lady in the moo around,
I feel like that's more if we're looking at wiener dogs for rednecks, we're thinking more wiener dogs, or maybe even pit bulls is a pretty redneck one. Great Danes aren't really either. That's a standout.
No, yeah, Great Danes are fucking cool.
Well, yeah, they eat Scooby snacks.
They're just cool dogs, man. If you've ever seen them, they're huge for one.
Yeah, they're like giant cuddle monsters.
And they're just like, usually they're sweet and super strong. We've had a few in the rescue, so
they beat the shit out of your face with their tail.
They're just so cool. I think they're cool. I'm sad they don't live as long as other dogs. But.
Yeah, I kind of want a Great Dane. Oh. Giant cuddle monster sounds good.
Yeah, so they describe these two crowds very differently, I feel.
I think it's
huge
a huge
difference.
deal, but to be fair, they described the other crowd as sitting around watching the Muppets. So, I don't know.
Well, they're listening to Carole King and the National Symphony and all that, 7.
I just like the idea of some super serious orchestra playing their heads off, and you just have the Muppets like dancing around the fucking stage.
Yeah, it was weird. So they go on a little bit further down to talk about Mr. I can't pronounce this name, Mr. Bachman, and his wife Crystal.
I'm not sure how to say that either.
So they say they came up from Florida, and they were accompanied by Darlene, whom they met at a Trump rally. So these Trump supporters all carpooled up here. How green of them. But they said God sent Darlene to me. Mrs. Bauchman said that this is the part that I wanted to include because I'm sure when they heard this they were salivating, is that the group chipped in. So all three of them chipped in and bought a $25 a gift card for Chick-fil-A to give to Mr. Trump.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
I know, right? Like I'm sure they're trying to play it off as these three,
like
poor
bumpkins.
people can they get a Chick-fil-A gift card, ha ha ha, and it's only $25, and they think that's nice. A good gift for the president. It's like it seems like super generous to me, but I'm not sure the author meant it that way.
That's super shitty if he didn't.
Yeah, I just kind of got the feeling that it's like, they don't really like Chick-fil-A and they hate Trump, and they're like, look at this. This is like, they bring this $25 gift card because they want to give it to Trump. Like, what idiots.
By the way, can I just point out something else that this article just pointed out to me? It makes it sound like, you remember that whole thing where he invited this football team to the White House and served them a shitload of Burger King and McDonald's and shit?
Fuck Burger King.
It's kind of like that actually came home to roost here, where Mr. Bushman, or however you say that. I have no. That's a weird ass spelling, dude. I don't know what to tell you. He likes burgers and fast food. I mean, that was kind of something that people were saying at the time. Well, yeah, that's something people were saying at the time, is that it made Trump seem more relatable for him to serve that sort of thing, like just serve a shitload of it. Because, I mean, I never heard the football players once complain, because, I mean, seriously, if you walk in and there's just stacks on stacks of Big Macs, like, are you thinking, like, there's two things you're thinking to yourself. A, this is a bad idea, and B, I'm so doing this.
I'm thinking, this is the freaking coolest thing ever.
Well, I think most people would. It's generous.
It's like the contrast of the fine serving plates and stuff, the silver and everything with the Big Mac, Well,
yeah, football players didn't come, for the most part, from fucking, Hollywood. They didn't come from super nice areas. They came from all over fucking America. So someone serving them a shitload of Big Macs, they're going to be like, hell yeah. This is what I'm talking about. And it seems like it's coming home to roost here, where the people that, I mean, granted, the way he's presenting this does make them sound a little a little simple because Trump clearly doesn't need the $25 gift card, but it's still a nice gesture.
Right, it's the gesture that counts,
right.
And I don't know if I might just be reading into it, but it just kind of felt like the author was making it out to seem kind of pumpkin-y.
I think just based on who it's coming from. Also, that stealth plane picture, that looks really cool, actually. It looks like someone just threw a Minecraft plane in the sky and called it good. It looks like the fucking simulation glitched.
Like I said, the photographs were really good. So
whoever
took the photos did a pretty good job.
Oh, that tank looks awesome. Got a whole bunch of like soldiers milling around behind some broke-ass fence. What is this? All right. I'm just sort of looking through the pictures now. Yep, we got baby Trump. Got some... I can't tell if this picture is supposed to be support. Like, I'm seeing a whole bunch of... Okay, I think this is a supporting picture. Yeah. Oh, Trump supporters argue with opponents. Okay, I gotcha.
There were some protesters there, but nothing super crazy happened, I guess, or else they'd be all over the news.
Tanks, but no tanks. DC. Okay, that's just a terrible pun. It took me like 3 seconds to figure out what the fuck he was even trying to say. You have to at least lead with thanks, or like put it somewhere so I know that this is like supposed to be a pun, and you're not just terrible at spelling.
Well, and there's also
fire.
This one paragraph here too, where
Eagles.
Mrs. Bouchman, she said she has 3 sons in the Marines, which thank you for your service.
Right.
And she wanted to bring her grandchildren to the White House, but she said she left them at home, afraid of anti-Trump demonstrators hitting people with crowbars and throwing cement on them.
That's
I mean, it's
what? How am I supposed to argue with that? Like.
Well, it's just sad that like you have to, like people are thinking about this kind of stuff, that this sort of shit happens.
Yeah, it's true.
Which we'll talk about that later.
Pretty much,
with the Andy Ngo thing.
Yeah, seriously.
It's pretty much straight from that, but it's sad that people believe that it's not safe to bring their grandchildren to the White House due to how crazy some of these anti-Trump people have got.
Yeah. Dude, we're only 2 years in. I'm kind of scared to see what happens because, I mean, let's be real for a second. Trump is almost certainly winning 2020. Like, anybody
right now,
that's...
Yes.
Yeah. Like, anyone that's not prepared for that, get prepared for that because, like, he is almost certainly winning 2020. Get over it. If you don't like it, feel free to put up someone viable. Feel free to, like, prop up Yang or Gabbard or someone reasonable. Because if you can't, you guys are fucked. Let's be totally straight. Yeah, if this is after 2.5, almost 3 years of Trump, dude, they're gonna be fucking foaming at the mouth by the end of the Trump presidency, or they'll have burned themselves out. Who knows? Maybe like they really are toddlers and they just need to run around for a while and then get tired.
I hope so. I mean, who knows? I do think it's gonna ramp up a lot more going into 2020, though.
Oh yeah.
Just
next summer is going to be awful. Feeling. Next summer is going to be fucking atrocious.
Well, there's also a quote in here too, where there was a man who only identified himself as Jay. So Jay, this is a quote from Jay.
Sure.
He said that he confessed that Thursday on the mall was, quote, the first time I've ever seen a MAGA hat up close.
And Jay is like an anti-Trump guy, or
I don't know. It's just Jay, but it speaks to kind of well, he goes on to say, I live in kind of a liberal bubble.
Oh, I see. A man who would identify himself only as Jay was also there, and confessed that Thursday was the first time I've ever seen a MAGA hat. Yep, I live in a kind of liberal bubble in College Park. Okay, so yeah, he's more of a liberal guy. He was downtown for a screening of Echo in the Canyon about the 1960s music scene in Los Angeles. Okay. I thought I'd take a picture of the tanks just to show how bizarre the world has gotten, but I don't want to get into any fights. Okay.
Right. He kind of seems like not like super engaged, just kind of an anti-Trump guy who's
Doesn't really know
thinks
what's going
things
on.
are just getting crazier, but he's not really going to go out and scream at somebody.
Yeah.
But the pictures right below this, there's the baby Trump balloon, and then there's the guys in MAGA hats here, and the guy standing next to the girl with the Obama shirt on, the black guy with his Make America Great Again hat. Keep that in mind. Keep this image in mind.
Okay. Trump supporters argue with opponents. Okay. Tanks, but no tanks. D.C. residents dump Trump. All right. Moving east towards the bandshell, mall was mostly empty Thursday afternoon, except for a group of girls taking photos of holding miniature versions of the Trump baby balloon.
Right. There's this part in here too about
merch. They're selling fucking merch.
Dude, the capitalists love this shit.
Oh my god. And a woman carried a placard reading "Fight Ignorance, Not Immigrants" under her arm. She might want to punch herself in the face just to be safe.
Here's the Correa family. They were celebrating their daughter's 5th birthday at the Smithsonian. And their son, Logan, I guess, who's 15 months old, so that makes him like a year and a half, something like that, thought it would be really cool to go see the tanks, but his mother insisted the family headed home, and that the whole event was quote honestly is a complete embarrassment. So
I'm sure that kid's I'm sure her 15-year-old son, after she said 15-month son, is going to be super convinced that tanks aren't cool. Mom said so. Sure, that's how that works.
Right.
Back on the Trump side, the crowd gradually thickened, converging at the Washington Monument into a sea of people wearing Trump paraphernalia, like Trump bongs and Trump crack pipes. Heavily tattooed. Man, I love the word because whenever I hear the word paraphernalia, I always think of like old CSI shows.
Drug paraphernalia.
Right. I always think exactly. I'm just imagining someone with some giant like fucking didgeridoo size MAGA bong. Just absolutely fucking massive.
That would be awesome.
It would be.
Well, then
it would be lit. It would be very lit and dope, fam.
Here, this photo with all the fire is some anti-Trump people burning the American flag.
Is anybody surprised these guys are burning shit?
Well, they're burning the American flag specifically, and for me, the only reason nowadays for somebody to really the only reason people burn the American flag nowadays is because they want to piss other people off. It's like essentially a form of trolling.
Yeah. I mean, I think it always has been, really.
Well, then we should just make it illegal. No,
oh
just
my God,
kidding.
No. No, bad.
I don't like it, but I don't care if people do it. But
no, I think it should be allowed.
I think people that just say, well, it's just a cloth. It's like, well, no, it's not. It's a symbol. Like, flags are symbols, and they have meaning behind them. And you burning it is essentially saying, fuck whatever this thing means to whoever is looking at it.
Well, I mean, yeah. Anyone saying it's just a cloth, an easy question is, so why are you just burning regular old cloth then? What's the point?
Yeah, why burn it?
Yeah, if it's just cloth, it's obviously a symbol. It's always been a symbol. Burning it's a troll. It's always has been. You shouldn't do it, but I don't think it should be illegal.
Yeah. There's a part of me that wants it to be illegal. There's a part of me
I know.
That's like, you shouldn't be allowed to do this because all it does is, kind of makes people angry.
Yeah.
But there's also a bigger part of me that says, people are allowed to do things, and if other people get angry, then they're the ones responsible for their emotions. So they need to take responsibility for that, for getting angry and whatnot.
Yeah.
That said, if someone burns an American flag around me, they better be ready for having me steal it.
See a middle-aged man blitzed by on a scooter.
My wife said one time that if she was at any of these protests and saw somebody burning the American flag, that she would take it. And I'm like, cool. Like, you could probably take it and get away with it. I'd probably get attacked. But she does not. I mean, she's not a huge, like, Republican, or she's not a Republican at all. She's not even, like, she doesn't really like Trump either or anything like that, but she's proud to be an American, you know.
I was about to say, I think there's a stark dividing line between these people. Like, because not liking Trump is one thing. Hating, like, America in general because you don't like Trump is a whole different level of woke. It's a whole different thing.
Right. So, anyway, they go on to describe, I guess they just followed these people, the Bauschmans, around.
Yeah, I guess they like the Bauschmans.
See, let's just follow these guys around. They look like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, we're like describing vendors now. And apparently a middle-aged man blitzing by on a scooter screaming, "The city is in desperate need of Jesus."
Yeah, you get these people at every rally. Like, doesn't matter how big or small, you get these, like, come to Jesus people. It's entertaining.
I kind of want to be, like, I'm an atheist, and I kind of just want to get, like, a giant placard with a huge picture of Jesus on it, ride around on a scooter around the outskirts. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
We need Jesus.
You need Jesus, and you need Jesus. All you need Jesus.
So they finally make it into, I guess, the seating area or whatever.
Okay.
They pass by a likeness of Trump sitting on a toilet and holding a cell phone as a recording, playing his voice saying "no collusion," which I guess that's a protest. I don't know. I wish they had a picture of that. Instead, they got a picture of these, like, eagle claws here.
Yeah, I feel like most of the other pictures were great, and then we have this weird.
Yeah, this one is just weird.
Of the, like, I can't tell if it's supposed to be a picture of, like, the fucking building or the eagle.
It's a picture of them setting up the floats for the parade. So there's balloons going to be in there. There's a float back here of, like, looks like NASA or moon landing or something.
If the fucking eagle's not the point, move past the goddamn eagle.
Well, yeah, like, let them take a picture of the whole damn eagle. It's probably like a badass eagle in, like, red, white, and blue with a top hat or something.
I don't know. Looking at it from the bottom, it looks like sort of cartoony.
So they go on to say, let's see, what was it? The Marine Band played on the Jumbotron, and children pressed up against the fence to see USA, USA. So here, remember that picture I told you to keep in mind?
Yeah.
The guy with the MAGA hat. So compare that to this paragraph here. It says, more and more people, most of them white, squeezed into the enclosure.
Okay.
Well, the photo... God damn. The photo was a black guy in a MAGA hat. Like, well, why? Like, I wonder if there was a black... Like, do they ever describe Black Lives Matter events where they go, more and more people, mostly black, squeezed into this enclosure or, you know, marched down the street?
Well, yeah, there's like an inherent implication there when you say things like that, where it's like... when you say it like that, it has this certain implication of, oh, well, all these white people getting together, and you know how they are, so, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like a wink and a nod sort of thing. It's like, you know, white people, you know, am I right? Fucking kale-eating, mayonnaise-loving sons of bitches. Which both are gross, by the way, so don't eat them.
Mayonnaise is incredible. I don't know what you're talking about.
It must be like a southern thing. I mean,
yes, it is, but mayonnaise is also incredible. So, look.
Well, more for you then.
That's right. You can feel free to be wrong. More mayonnaise for me.
But then, Mrs. Bauschman, she points out these two little boys who I'm assuming a man, who I'm assuming is their father. He's got them like up on his shoulders, I guess, so they can see.
Sure.
And they're wearing shirts that have the American flag printed on it. And she says, "Look at them, that's America." And she also says, "This rally, it's not about politics, it's about our country," which is, I believe, like fucking wisdom right there. That's truth.
Yeah.
I mean obviously is involved.
I was about to say, obviously to the politicians, this is 100% about politics. But that doesn't mean for the protesters it necessarily is. Or the supporters.
Well, yeah. To the people, I think, attending the event, it wasn't about we're all Republicans or we're all pro-Trump. It's like, fuck yeah, like somebody wants to celebrate the shit out of 4th of July. Like, let's do it.
Ooh, I just found the comment section. Ooh.
Is it gold? Is there lots of good comments?
The spectacle ordered up by the occupant of the Oval Office. You mean the president? Is his ego and campaign to further increase the divide he created? Oh my god. What? All of these comments are so fucking long.
They like to write dissertations in the comment sections of the New York Times.
Jesus Christ, like anyone
about how much they hate Trump.
Seriously, there's like one reply sometimes. Nobody ever replies. What is it? There's a 990 comments, and occasionally one of these gets replied to. Okay.
Well, they're not conversations; they're all just statements.
I suppose. Because you can reply to them. That's interesting.
Right.
Well,
but I don't think anybody that would care enough to reply to them is subscribed to the New York Times, so I don't know if they can reply.
It's possible. It's possible. But, yeah, speaking of replies, looks like Nike had their own reply to Colin Kaepernick, and it's not the one we fucking wanted. So,
smooth.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Colin Kaepernick, man, that guy.
Can he please fuck off?
Right, can he go, like, what has he done to deserve such attention or, I guess, gravitas?
He kneeled to the president.
Right.
He bent the knee.
You know, he bent the knee, right? Like,
good for him.
Isn't that a sign of submission?
Yeah.
It seems kind of weird.
I refuse to stand, so I'll kneel. Like, oh, okay.
Like,
should I unzip?
Part of me,
I don't know.
When he was doing his protests, part of me was, sort of caught up in the hype of it all. Like, God, man, like, it's so dumb that people do that and they think that they're so
doing
righteous
something.
And they're making such a they're doing something amazing. It's just they're pissing people off. It's not making anything change, but I guess now he is. But in my opinion, it's in the wrong direction.
Dude, he was sucking his own dick hardcore after that whole thing. Is like, man, I'm so awesome. I told that fucking president what's what. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm gonna so get laid.
Oh, it's so lame.
They can't fire me now.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you guys. I might be the worst fucking football player in the history of football. You can't fire me now, bitches.
So Nike, they made these shoes, these Nike, I guess they're running shoes, and they distributed them. So they produced them, they distributed them to the stores, and they were getting ready to sell them. Then Colin Kaepernick comes in and he says, this could offend people because of slavery, I guess, because this was the flag while slavery was around during the United States. So some people would be offended. And you know what? He's probably right. Some people would be offended. But, those people can go fuck themselves.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not sure what the difference would even be, because last I checked, we had already established the new flag when slavery was abolished. Right?
I don't know what you're saying.
No, I mean, okay. So, if this flag is supposed to be offensive because slavery happened during its tenure, if you will, wouldn't that make our flag just as offensive?
Well, yeah, because the American flag is offensive now.
Yeah, what the fuck? Why did the left always... Why does, like, the far left always fucking do this shit? Because they did it to Britain, where, like, the Union Jack is racist now. They're doing it in France. They're probably doing it in Spain, let's be real.
Because Western civilization, Western culture, which is also to them code for white people for some reason, is inherently racist somehow.
Can they please just go check into some sort of slave camp in the middle of Africa somewhere?
Well, go to Japan, like you said, go to China. Like the Chinese people, incredibly racist.
Oh, they don't give a fuck.
Are xenophobic.
They don't give two fucks. They'll tell you to your fucking face that they're racist. They don't give a fuck.
They're like, no, we're not racist. We're just better than you because we're Chinese.
No, they'll say. No, they'll fucking say it. They'll say we are racist. Like, they own it. They're okay with it.
It's not a bad thing to them. Yeah.
No, it's really not.
Well, they have it built up in their heads that America is a racist country. Western civilization is built on racism and sexism. But they don't. I don't know. Maybe these people skipped history class to go smoke pot or something. I don't know. But they don't seem to understand that these things aren't exclusive to Western civilization. It's not like India was totally welcoming in, whoever. It's not like the Chinese were totally just welcoming in everybody.
Well, it's not like nobody's told them.
Incredibly isolationist.
It's so weird because, you'll fucking... you point that out to someone and they just don't seem to hear it.
No, I don't. I don't think
get
it. I don't think it has anything to do with them not hearing it or not being informed. I think fundamentally they believe that narratives are simply just a way to exercise power over people, and so they have their narrative and it's powerful and they're going to use it to exercise power over you.
Well, I don't know if most
of them understand that in those terms. They kind of believe the narrative.
No,
the people crafting the narrative, or the intelligentsia, what do you call them? The thought leaders are the ones that understand that, and they don't give a shit.
Well, so the reason behind it, like the reason that they've formed these ideas, because I can explain it with some clarity, is basically the idea that yes, these other communities did all this. But seeing as they lost, you can't exactly... they've already sort of taken their licks for those problems. So now it's our turn, is sort of the mindset. But that would also mean moving down to their level. And it's like, no, I like my Buffalo Wild Wings. I like my PlayStation. I like having electricity. Fuck you.
I love my dogs.
We're not solving the problem if solving the problem means that I have to, turn my country into a third world country. No. Screw yourself. No way.
Well, and I don't even think that would make the world a better place.
No, it wouldn't. It's just, I don't think they actually think it would make it a better place. I think that it would be, I think they view it as just, because they're so hyper-focused on justice that they don't care what the consequences will be. They know that there will be consequences, they just don't care.
I wouldn't call it justice. It's social justice. It's not the ideal of justice.
It's hardline justice. It's not even social justice. It's hardline justice, where it's there was some sin over here. It needs to be paid for. And if it hasn't been paid for by whoever did it, well, the sin didn't go away. It wasn't paid for. It needs to be paid for. At some point.
It's yes and no.
That's the logic.
The reason I say that it's right. That is the logic behind it. But the reason I say that it's social justice is because the person who committed the sin is guilty and needs to be punished for it. But also anybody who happens to come from a group that they're in. So,
well, right. That's the mechanism. That's sort of the mechanism where they say, you have some tangential relation, so here you go. This is yours now.
Well, yeah, because in their worldview, we're all just representatives of our identity groups.
Right.
We're not individual. That's why they want you to fucking take trains and buses everywhere and to live in drab, gray little apartments with barely enough room, and we all eat the same shit because they're fucking collectivists.
Well, yeah, it's so weird because, like, I mean, I think a lot of people, when they read things like 1984, and they sort of see these things where it's...
They don't see it as a utopian novel.
Well, no, I mean, like, I think a lot of people rightly probably called Orwell a little bit of an alarmist, because the things that at the time that he put out were kind of alarmist, where it's like, oh, we're all going to be fucking, if you're strong, you're going to have sandbags holding down your shoulders. If you're intelligent, there's going to be the screeching noises that play in your ear every now and again to make sure you can't think. If you're too good of a dancer, you're going to have fucking weights on your legs so you can't dance as well. If you're too handsome, you have a mask.
That wasn't Orwell, though, that wrote that one.
Am I an idiot?
No. Orwell wrote 1984 and Animal Farm.
What book am I thinking of?
I think he's the guy that wrote Fight Club too. What's his name?
That was the firefighter one. Fahrenheit 451.
Right.
That was that one. Okay, I'm an idiot. Yes. That was Ray Bradbury.
It's Ray Bradbury.
Yeah, Ray Bradbury.
There's another one too where
some people say that book is overrated, and I disagree strongly.
There was another one. It was. I'll look it up.
Animal Farm is also excellent, but that's more of a direct communist critique rather than anything else, or well, specifically, like USSR communism, Stalinism, and Leninism too, to a lesser extent. But yeah, I think it's fair to point out that at this point, while at the time Ray Bradbury might have been a little bit of an alarmist, nowadays not so much. Like like the power structure has inverted, where there is a certain amount of power that comes with being weak. If you're, the weak and downtrodden, that gives you a certain amount of leverage in any given situation where you can point to that and say, well, I mean, I have all this shit on my plate, therefore. And it's like, well, therefore what? Therefore nothing, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean that your opinion is more valid. Just because you're, like, it's this weird inversion where the people that were bullied in the past are now the ones that are able to bully on their lack of ability to bully. It's super weird, but this is like what we saw over at Evergreen with Brett Weinstein. Remember the girl that people were making fun of that was running around the wheelchair with some stick beating up or trying to beat up these guys that were like chalking up the place?
Yeah, it's R2 Dindu.
Yeah, R2 Dindu, that's it. That's sort of what I'm talking about, though, because, like, there's really nothing you can do about that. Because, like, you can't run up and hit the girl in the wheelchair, right? She can do whatever she wants, and there's really nothing you can do about it. If you do anything about it, you're the one in trouble.
You could, walk up some stairs.
I mean, yes. Yes.
That's what I would do.
I get that, but, like, I don't know, it's creating this weird inversion.
Disarm. Yeah, you're right. Because
at least before, I guess the reason I'm thinking about it is like at least before when it was just the strong eat the weak with the bullies, at least there was some rationale for why the bullies were pulling ahead. It's because they were bigger and stronger, maybe smarter, right? There was a hierarchical advantage there. There was some reason for the advancement, as opposed to now where it's like we're incentivizing weakness. Which I don't think we need to go back to encouraging bullies, but this seems even stupider.
Well, we don't even need to encourage bullies. I don't think we need to do that. I don't think that was what was being done. It's just nature favors those who are stronger.
Right.
It's natural law, I guess. and part of living in a society, like a just and free society, is that some of that, I guess, injustice that's done biologically can be mediated, like it can be relieved. Where just because you're not strong enough to shoot or hunt down a deer, you still get some food. We can still provide food for everybody. It's just because you're not the biggest and strongest and fastest or smartest there's still stuff for you to do. Like, you can still contribute in some way or another.
True.
What you were talking about was Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut, where they weighed the guy down and the dancer had to wear the mask because she was too beautiful.
Well, I think it was the man that was wearing the mask. Or was it both of them wearing masks? Because the man was wearing masks.
Well, yeah, he was like 7 feet tall and like super strong and handsome and intelligent, but they had to weigh him down. I forget what it was. It was like the handicapper general or something like that.
Something like that, but they had like all these ridiculous things. He had the ear attachments. Yeah. He had the weights. He had the at the whole thing. He came out and was like, these restraints have only made me stronger. What are you gonna do now? And then he gets shotgunned.
Well, yeah, his dad had to wear the headphones, where if he started thinking, every few minutes it would like make some different loud noise in his ears,
right?
So he couldn't think. And his wife had nothing because she was kind of a simple lady, perfectly average, perfectly, I guess, normal. I guess. So
did it ever explore what they did for people that were like down on the totem pole? Because it doesn't seem like he.
No, this was just a short. I've actually read this story. It was just a short story, but I don't think they went into what happened to the people that are the other way, like people who are born deficient in some way.
I think that would have been like honestly more fascinating, because I think his focus is the right one, where it's talking about, why are we weighing down the best among us? That doesn't make any sense. They're supposed to be contributing. That's kind of the point. But
you want to put them into positions to where you can maximize
use their talents,
their benefit to the society for everybody.
Right. You get to exploit their talents, and the rest of us, they get to benefit from that, and so do the rest of us. That's supposed to be the deal.
Right.
But yeah, I would find it very fascinating to know what in that society, if there's a bunch, like if there's any R2 Dindus running around that are fucking wearing golden crowns and like you're getting massive plastic surgery to be hot.
Maybe they get like super badass robotic wheelchairs with rocket launchers.
I mean, somebody's got to take out the Harrison Bergerons of the world, so yeah.
Well, those people probably just get appointed to leadership positions. I guess.
God!
If social justice is any indication,
if we're gonna fully invert it, they find the baby with the lowest IQ. All right, you're president. Congratulations, you lead us now.
Right, like what was that Idiocracy, where the average guy goes in the future and he's the smartest man in the world?
Yeah, he's a fucking genius. And he's just looking around like, are you guys fucking kidding me right now?
Jesus Gotta water the plants with Gatorade or whatever it was. It's got electrolytes.
Fucking electrolytes. I swear to God, that might be the most hyped up thing in drinks I've ever fucking heard of. Fucking electrolytes. You remember like the mid-90s where everything had goddamn electrolytes?
Yeah.
Jesus
Christ.
Well,
yeah, I was playing football at the time, and then everyone's like, you should drink Gatorade, it's got electrolytes. I'm like,
what the fuck is an electrolyte? Why has no one ever bothered to explain what the fuck an electrolyte is?
It's supposed to restore energy to your muscles, I guess. You expend it.
Electrolyte.
So one of the best things that I've ever read, like criticizing social justice, or actually the term social attached to just about anything because it makes it weaker, is Hayek. He critiques it, I think, in it's like a critique of social justice or something. Like social justice is in the title of the book. I forget the actual title, but
okay.
I'm sure someone can Google it if they're interested and find it. But he says that you add social to anything, and he actually lists out all the things that people were adding social to, like social justice, and it dilutes the actual thing itself. So instead of it just being justice, equal, blind justice, or just justice as a principle, social justice makes justice weaker in a way. Kind of like.
Well, dilutes the. Yeah. I think it
dilutes the concept.
Yeah, it dilutes the concept in that there's supposed to be a very clear idea of what justice is, and a very like straightforward, narrow path of, this is how you get justice, this is when it happens, this is what justice is. And you can say that that's restrictive, but it also means that it's something that's easy for everyone to look at and be like, okay, justice was done, right? Whereas when it's just everyone gets their own version of justice, which is basically what social justice is, it's mob justice is really what it is. Where everyone gets to decide when justice is done. It's just bad. It's just bad. Like, I don't know what else to say. We haven't talked about this fucking shoe at all, have we?
Well, there's not really a ton here. It's just basically Nike went through all the effort. It passed everybody at Nike, and then Colin Kaepernick said, well, I don't know. It could be offensive because it's associated with the era of slavery. And then Nike's like, well, St. Colin Kaepernick of the bended knee.
Dude, if one of these other shoe companies comes in behind and be like, by the way, we decided to release a shoe with the Betsy Ross flag, no relation, I'm so buying it.
I would totally, if I owned a shoe company, I would be like, yes.
It's time to cash the fuck in.
Carhartt should do that.
Dude, Red Wings? Boots. Oh no, Red Wings? Red Wings. They should so do this. You know that there's a whole bunch of blue-collar workers out there that'll buy that second fucking pair of Red Wings for work.
Hell yeah, man. Steel-toed boots with American flags on them.
Hell yeah.
Sign me up.
Well, Red Wings especially, because like it's a lifetime guarantee, too. So...
Oh, really? Huh.
Well, depending on which one
you're looking for new boots, so
yeah. If you like, Red Wings, like this is not a spot. This is not a spot placement. It's just
we are not sponsored by Red Wings in any way.
By the way, Red Wings, I love your shit.
But if you want to,
yeah, if you want to, I'm so down. But anyway, yeah, I remember reading a long time ago. I don't know if this still is happening, but a few years ago when I was looking into it. Yeah, they had something where it's basically a lifetime guarantee. If it wears out, like they'll resole it for you. Just a, general lifetime guarantee on your shoes. Good shit.
Pretty sweet.
It is. It's like $300 for the pair, but
well, if they're gonna last you a lifetime,
right? It's worth it.
It might be worth it.
Yeah.
You spend like $50 on a pair of shoes on a cheap pair of shoes now.
Like twice a year.
They only last you 6 months. Yeah. So
not bad. But I don't think there's a whole lot left to say about Nike.
Yeah, I think Ted Cruz called him out on it online on Twitter or something, which
a whole bunch of people did.
Ted Cruz likes to do, and yeah, so
Ted Cruz is trying to get on the Twitter space.
People were pointing out that Obama had that very same flag at, I think, his inauguration. One of them.
Fucking slave-owning Obamas. God damn it.
I know.
Tired of their shit.
He's half white, so I guess.
Oh shit, that's right. Fuck. Does that mean he gets like half the privilege points? I don't know how that works. Woke people, tell me how that works.
I guess it's how he identifies,
As long as he doesn't identify as white, he's good. All right, that's fair. All right. Well, speaking of fair, it seems like Andy Ngo got his just desserts.
Yeah, his skirt was a little too short.
Exactly.
Shouldn't have been walking in that neighborhood.
I'm joking. That joke was just too good to pass up. Let's see. Must watch. Portland Antifa violence against journalist goes national. Thank Christ. For fuck's sake. This whole thing is fucking stupid. Did you see that he actually, I don't know if you keep up with Brett Weinstein, but he recently went on Brett Weinstein's new podcast.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Watch it. He sounds like, I don't know how, I've seen some stuff by Andy before and I've heard him talk before, and he just seems slower.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
he even said as much in the interview.
Yeah.
is that he just feels like he's operating slower. So yeah,
it's sad. Like, he got beaten up, and he got his equipment stolen, and they threw milkshakes and eggs and silly string on him. If you haven't seen I think we have, like, in the article that has the video.
It does have the video, yeah.
Do we want to play it?
Sure. Content warning.
Oh God, warnings here.
Hold on. All right, I was not expecting it to be that loud.
Antifa rally over the weekend, minding his own business, covering the news as a journalist, and he was beaten almost to death by Antifa, wound up in the hospital. He just got out and joins us now on this program. We're happy to see you. I'm glad you're...
Yeah, I don't know if it's playing the audio. I don't hear it, but...
On Saturday, documenting this protest...
Oh, can you not hear it?
...organized by Antifa and its allies...
well, I got it on mute, so that's probably why.
Stone's throw away from,
but yeah, you can see in the video where he just, like, all the stuff they throw at him, and he's not fighting back. He's not out there instigating. He's not shoving anybody. He's just filming people.
I mean, honestly, literally, if he had, they probably would have backed off a little bit. Because none of these guys actually want to get into a fight. They just want to beat up someone and not get anything from back.
Yeah, I've been to, like, a couple of these protests, we'll call them. And the Antifa guys, they don't, yeah, you can see he's, like, covering his head and stuff.
Yeah.
Antifa... They won't come up to you. They'll come up to you and square up with you face to face, and they'll say a bunch of shit and, you know, ask you to hit them and try to provoke you into punching them. But they won't actually attack you straight up. But as soon as you, like, turn or look away and there's superior numbers, they will hit you.
Right.
If you're all on your own, especially, they will gang up and hit you. And Tim Pool pointed out when he was watching or was showing the video that this all started when somebody threw a milkshake on it.
Yep.
And, you know, one person did it, and so everybody laughs, and then the next person thinks, well, that's great, I'm going to throw, you know, the silly string on him, or I'm going to shove him, or I'm going to run up and punch. You can see people, they run up, hit, and then they run away.
Yeah.
And so that's their MO. Like, I was at a rally one time, and we were walking across the street, and the Patriot Prayer group that I was with, we were walking across the street with the crosswalk, and the light changed, and so half the group was on one side, and there was some of the group on the other, and all of Antifa was behind them because they were just following us around. And so a couple of the Antifa guys got across the street, and they were yelling at us and stuff, and, you know, a couple guys were... I kept walking because I wanted to stay with the big group.
Sure.
Didn't want to get hit. But a couple guys hung back because they saw the other guys got cut off by traffic, and so naturally a fight breaks out across the street. So some of the guys turned around and ran across the street. Well, the Antifa guys that were on our side turned around and punched them as soon as they turned around and started running. Like, they chased after them and punched them, and then they ran off. Like, I don't know, if you have, like, a little brother, you know, or a younger sibling, it's kind of like that. Like, they'll hit you and then they'll run away. Like, they know they can't beat you in a straight up fight, and so they want to hit you, and so they'll hit you and run off because that's
they're pussies.
The only way that they can. Yeah, it's the only way they can do it. It's sad, really. Like, we're gonna see. I got a prediction. We're gonna see a lot more of these protests coming up. There's another one I know that's scheduled for later July, like July 20th, I think. By, I think, the same people that put this on. The name of the organizer is Haley Adams, and she does, like, the Hymn To and I think it's something like Portland Liberation. She became an activist when her family got attacked by Antifa. Like her parents and them were all at a rally or something, and they all got attacked by Antifa. And so she became this activist, and she's now like organizing rallies alongside Patriot Prayer and Proud Boys and stuff like that because her family got beat up by Antifa.
And you said she like was Antifa before that?
No, she wasn't Antifa. She was a conservative before that, but she was just, a regular person.
Gotcha.
And so her family got attacked, and that was one of the rallies I went to was after they got attacked, and I was talking to some people, and they were all talking about it, and that's a lot of them, they came out because of that. Like somebody got attacked and they wanted to show support for what had happened,
Oh, I get you.
But back to Andy.
It still sucks that this is what it takes for people to actually get interested.
Yeah, people don't care about something till it's on their doorstep, I guess.
Yeah.
But Andy, apparently he got attacked twice that day already, earlier. I read a bunch of different articles about this and watched him on Brett Weinstein's show and the Tucker Carlson piece and a couple other places.
Sure.
But he'd been attacked twice that day, and he reported it to the police both times. Like, he knew Antifa was out to get him, but, he had a job to do, and that's what he does. He's an independent journalist, and he thought, as long as I'm not hurting anybody, I'm fine, and apparently not.
Incorrect.
Yeah, it's an incorrect assumption. Antifa, somebody made the point that, I think it was Brett Weinstein, that journalists are the closest thing in American society to sacrosanct that you're going to get. You don't beat up journalists. And I don't know how other journalists are okay with this. I don't understand why journalists aren't thinking, well, this could happen to me.
Because they think they're safe from the mob, because they are the mob.
Yeah, they're in bed with these people, in my opinion.
Well, I think that seems fairly obvious. From all things considered, that seems fairly obvious.
So,
not that I would ever impugn the honor of the American journalist. No,
right?
Not me.
Those fucking bastards. Some of them are.
What are you talking about? American journalists are great people.
Politically.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of personally, I think there's a tie between Antifa, the Democratic Party, and the media. Maybe not everywhere, maybe not nationally. In Portland, I feel like that's true, but I don't have direct evidence. I don't have somebody who's an Antifa member, because you can't tell who's an Antifa member because they all wear masks.
Right.
I don't have a scheduled meeting with him and Mayor Ted Wheeler or anything like that. I don't have any hard evidence to prove it. I'm sure that they're in communication somehow, and so whoever...
They wouldn't even necessarily need to be.
They could just be in communication. There are a few members of Antifa that are, I guess, open. People know who they are.
Sure.
At least in these circles. They don't wear masks and they have names and stuff. And they don't have to, they're not necessarily saying, go out and beat these people up, but they're saying, go out there and protest these people, and then we'll have... I have a friend that works at Willamette Week, and we'll write it up as violent breaks out at Proud Boy rally. They always write it that way, too, because I've said this before. I'm very sensitive to how things are written.
Okay.
Specifically. And it's always, we saw this. The first time I saw this was at the 2016 election when I started really paying attention to the media. because you'd see headlines that say something like violence breaks out at Trump rally. So what does that make you think? Well, Trump rallies are violent. Violence breaks out there. It just happens there.
Right.
There must be violent people at these Trump rallies.
Those
They
damn
don't say
bastard Trump rallies.
They don't say black bloc protesters attack rally goers.
Right.
Which is probably more factually correct. What
True.
The first headline isn't, it's not enough of a lie, but it's not the truth either. It's not enough of a lie to be libel. It's not enough of a lie to be, for somebody to say, well, you're lying. And they have enough wiggle room there. I call them like weasel headlines.
Well, yeah, I mean, news organizations are pretty careful about not making definitive statements of fact, because that's how you get in trouble.
And I'm fine with that if you don't know the facts, like not making a definitive statement.
Right.
But saying something like it's not just that they're not saying the truth. They're framing it in such a way as to make it even less of the truth.
Right.
I'm trying to think how I wrote it down somewhere. I was trying to
they're
think how I was
manipulating the
describing
framing so that when you read it, you think a certain thing, right? It's like when the media back during the Bush days, when he had the media all saying, you know, Iraq and WMDs in the same sentence every single time for like a year straight until everybody listening was like, oh, Iraq has WMDs. And that's maybe not a perfect analogy to the framing that's going on right now, but it's a similar concept where they're not saying Trump rallies are violent, but they are saying that violence happens at Trump rallies. So it ends up being, you know, the same thing, except it also has the added benefit of smearing Trump supporters as violent. So, yeah.
Right. So the way I described it is that like a weasel headline is how do I say this? Weasel headline is when you state something that is not false, which is different from something that is true.
Right.
And then you frame it in the opposite direction. So violence breaks out at a Trump rally. Well, it's not false. That did happen. But the framing of it and the weasel words in there make it seem like Trump rallies are violent.
Well, right. Unless it was, you know, the rally that started the violence, the question becomes, why didn't you name the people that started the violence instead of naming the Trump rally as the subject?
Right. It's not Trump has a rally and his supporters run out into the streets and grab somebody wearing a Democrat shirt and beat the shit out of him. And then, you know, a brawl happened.
Yeah, how many times have fucking, you know, chicks with I'm with her shirts get milkshaked and beaten in the streets? Like, how often has that happened? Oh, right, never. At all.
Yeah, next to never.
I don't think that's ever happened.
You're internet savvy, so
okay.
You probably saw all the videos that were going around during and like around the 2016 election where like there was a guy at a Trump rally like running away from another guy and he was just punching him and tearing his shirt and he tackled him to the ground and it was just other people, you know, beat the shit out of him. And then there was a guy who he had like a Trump bumper sticker on his car and he got essentially carjacked. Like, and someone was filming it and just yelling like, yeah, beat his ass. He voted Trump. Get him. And they pulled this guy out of the car and beat the shit out of him. Like, those videos were like all over the place.
I don't think I saw those actually.
Oh.
You got to remember, I was running in different circles back in 2016.
Yeah, dude, we should try to find some of those and
okay.
I'll red pill you.
Okay. Let's do like a fucking Trump montage.
Dude, if you ever need a pick me up though, go to YouTube and like look up videos of Trump winning the 2016 election. Are people saying that he won't win?
Oh no, there was a. This is like the one. This is like the one episode from a channel called Dame Pesos that I actually like because he always, for some reason, he is constantly shitting on another YouTuber called Mundane Matt, and it's just a bunch of drama.
Monday Matt deserves to be shit on.
Maybe he does. I don't know, but
nothing against him. He's just kind of I don't know. Kind of.
But
he's actually he actually lives in Oregon. Monday Matt. Yeah, I've seen.
I mean, as long as Trump doesn't take Florida, we're good. Oh shit, he took Florida. Well, okay, hold on. What about Oregon? We're good. Like he doesn't have Oregon. He took Oregon.
I wish. Maybe this year. Who knows?
No, but it's just sort of. I remember Florida. He definitely took. I don't think he took Oregon. Maybe it was Michigan that I'm thinking of.
He did not take Oregon. I guarantee you that.
But regardless, yeah, just one of those videos where it was like once I sort of calmed down a little bit because I was definitely more on the Bernie bro side of things. I didn't want Trump to win, but yeah, once I calmed down a little bit, looking back, I was like, all right, this is a good video. Fair enough, man.
Right. Well, there's videos like Ann Coulter just getting laughed at on Bill Maher's show when she said Trump would win, and like George Clooney saying Trump will never be president, and not Elizabeth Warren, but Nancy Pelosi saying Trump will never be president. You could take that to the bank. Just like statements like that are when Barack Obama was on.
Aged so badly. It's great.
Barack Obama was on Jimmy Kimmel or something, reading mean tweets, and one of them was from Donald Trump saying that he was the worst president ever, and Obama looks right into the camera and he says, "At least I'll go down as a president of the United States," and he like drops the mic, and it's just like it couldn't have been better.
No.
Oh, it was the
Obama.
best.
Oh, fuck's sake.
So if you ever need a pick me up, like, man, that is 100% worth it.
I mean, I'll be honest. Usually, if I need to pick me up, I'll go watch there's like a video of this little dog that goes to a state fair, runs up a whole bunch of stairs, and then goes down the slide, and then fucking runs back up, and the dude puts him back on the slide. And he's like, "Woo!" and then runs back up. It's great.
That's adorable.
It's cute as shit. Yeah.
If you want to laugh at people who are just so confident that Satan McHitler Orange Man Bad is never going to win, and then he wins, it
was funny.
It's just the greatest.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to get to see the fucking second coming of that entire thing because all the Democrats are convinced that they can win this time. It's like, guys, come on. Like, this is embarrassing.
So with
Seriously.
when Trump won, getting back to kind of like Andy Ngo and the Portland angle, you know what Portland did? I mean, we all vote. This state's electoral votes all went to Hillary Clinton, but Portland had giant protests that Antifa did so much damage that it cost about $1 million to repair.
Of course they did. How are we going to solve Trump being made president? We're going to fucking burn our own city. Great job, guys.
Light our city on fire. Right.
That showed him. He did
that made me so, like, there are videos from that night where people are trying to drive through town and their cars are getting surrounded and people are, like, beating on the windows and, like, breaking them.
I'm sorry. If I ever get surrounded by a fucking group of black-clad protesters, I'm not stopping for you idiots. I don't know what to tell you. That's your own problem at that point. I'm not getting surrounded by you crazy fucks.
I'm just gonna say this now. Today I officially got my concealed carry permit. So you'll never know. Maybe I'm carrying, maybe I'm not.
Like, I'm just, like, it's getting to a crazy enough point where it's like, no, I don't know what's going to happen if I get surrounded by these fucking wackaloons. So, yeah, sorry, dude. If it's between a group of you guys trying to stand in front of the car and me getting trapped with you, sorry. Not my problem anymore.
Well, if you like honk and like tell them to move and stuff, and they don't move, and then they start hitting your car,
yeah,
like at that point, I believe you're fully justified in running them over.
Yep,
100% believe it. Now, if they're just standing there,
well,
no,
yeah,
like,
obviously I'm not just
that
gonna ram.
sucks.
Like I'm not gonna just ram them. Yeah,
not gonna Dylan Roof that shit or whoever that guy was. Who was
yeah,
that guy?
exactly.
At Charlottesville?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Asshole?
Right. I'm not gonna be that
Hope
guy.
he hangs.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Now, if that had happened in Portland, it might have been more understandable. I'm joking.
Don't say that, man. I live here.
Yeah, they probably would have burned down the whole state if it happened in Portland. Let's be real.
Well, I was trying to puzzle out, like, what is the mayor thinking? Like the mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler, Lion Ted Wheeler. I don't know. We need Trump to come up with a nickname for him. But Senator Ted Cruz actually called him out, and he's calling for an investigation into Ted Wheeler for what happened to Andy.
Fucking should.
Andy, no.
Okay. Even if Ted Wheeler hasn't been doing any sort of collusion with Antifa, he's been letting this happen this whole fucking time. And he can make all the shit up he wants about, I didn't tell the police to do anything. First of all, bullshit. Second of all, even if you hadn't, don't you think it might be incumbent on you, if your police force isn't doing anything when you've got fucking black-clad terrorists running around your city, to maybe poke and prod the police force? Hey guys, fucking do something.
Well, I was trying to think I'm trying to, I guess, get into his head and think about it from his perspective, because when Antifa and the Abolish ICE people occupied the ICE building and were following ICE personnel home and harassing them, and they got like a coffee stand across the street shut down because they served coffee to ICE agents. They did this for like a month and just left it like a biohazard zone, essentially. Like he came out and did a press conference where he said, I want to thank these guys for bringing national attention to this issue. Like, he thanked them.
Mm-hmm. Ted Wheeler did?
Yes.
Oh, what the fuck?
And so I'm trying to think, does he think appeasement of these people will prevent them? Like, if we just give them what they want, that they won't do anything too bad?
Well, that's like pussy thinking, and he needs to quit it. Second of all,
like, read your history, dude.
Yeah, seriously, have that go for fucking Europe. Just saying. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's appeasement, though. Like, I genuinely think this is, sympathetic policymaking, where he's sympathetic to these guys, so he's just not doing anything.
Well, I think that's true. I do think that's true, and I also think that when we were talking earlier, where that lady said, I wanted to bring my grandchildren here, but I didn't want them to be attacked with crowbars and concrete milkshakes, right?
God damn, yeah.
I think he wants...
I wouldn't put it past these fucking psychos either.
That benefits him politically, because one way that how can anybody who's going to run against him campaign when people don't believe they can actually wear, I guess, like a MAGA hat or, a Republican shirt in your town or something like that. Like something like even me, like when I did when I wore my MAGA hat for a month, I didn't go into downtown Portland, but it wasn't just me being some loony Republican thinking somebody could attack me for doing this. Yeah. Like, everybody I talked to was like, oh man, you're doing something really brave. Like, that takes a lot of balls to do that. And it's like, well, I'm just wearing a hat. Like, it's just a political hat of a politician that I don't agree with everything, but I think I like him enough to buy his hat, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like that should be considered a pretty low tier tacit approval.
Right. It's not like a. To me, that wasn't something brave. It wasn't like I'm going to face jail time or the police are going to come after me or.
No, worse, the fucking Antifa mob is going to come after you.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't think they're going to, but like not at this point.
No.
But it was definitely a possibility. Like there was a real possibility that could have happened. And
well, and
that's
I didn't
kind of fucking
wear
ridiculous.
I didn't wear it in downtown Portland either. Like I didn't go into Portland that whole month. I don't normally go into Portland, to be honest. Like I know a lot of people that refuse to go into Portland anymore just because of all this stuff. But
really interesting.
Yeah, if you live outside of Portland, you try to avoid it mostly.
Huh.
It used to be you'd go down there, for the nightlife and like the cool shops and everything and
sure.
But a lot of people, they don't go out to eat in Portland anymore.
That's unfortunate because I understand that downtown Portland is actually very pretty.
Yes and no. Parts of it is a beautiful city. I think it's a beautiful town, and it used to be great. And you get the occasional crazy person like you would in any like semi-big city,
right?
Or like the person asking for change. But there you were usually just harmless, homeless guys, and then they would disappear wherever, go sleep at the shelter or whatever, and it'd be totally fine. But now you just have tents upon tents of people. And one of my coworkers said he was driving through Portland when they had this protest last weekend where Andy got beat up, and he said he was waiting at a light in downtown Portland, and there were just like 3 or 4 tents just set up on the side of the road, like under an overpass, and somebody got out, like a guy got out, no shirt on, and then a woman got out with no pants on and just walked like 3 feet away from the tent, squatted, and just took a leak right there.
What?
Yeah, she just went to the bathroom, like on the side of the road.
Huh.
In broad daylight in front of, God and everybody.
And this was downtown Portland or like some country road or?
No, this is in the city of Portland. So it depends on where you go in Portland. There's places where there aren't a bunch of homeless people, but if you go down the wrong street, you'll run into these guys, like just 10 or 12 homeless people camping out on the side, and none of them have. You can smell the urine. I don't know if you've ever been anywhere where you can just smell urine.
Not human urine.
Ugh. Like, you've been in porta potties, right?
Yes.
Kind of imagine that smell, but like saturated into the concrete.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then there's also trash, but that gets cleaned up usually. Not by the homeless people, but it's a nice city. Like it could be great. Let's make Portland great again. But yeah,
kick
like
out Antifa, and whoever's left of the homeless after you kick out Antifa, get them in a shelter.
I don't know what the mayor is so afraid of.
I don't think he's afraid. I think he likes Antifa.
Honestly, though, you think he does? I don't. He often says things like, "Well, they have the First Amendment, so they have a right to protest." Like, okay, I think he makes excuses for them.
The First Amendment does not you don't get to use the First Amendment to beat people, to burn shit, and to loot things. You don't. That's not how the First Amendment works, guys.
Well, it's not a blank check to close down city streets whenever you feel like protesting.
Right. Jesus Christ. We're taking this, this is some free speech absolutism that normally I can get behind it, but, not if we're talking anarchy. There needs to be a limit at some point. And I think a pretty safe limit is usually, what the original conception was. You can do whatever you want. You can wave your arms around all day and night until you hit me in the face, at which point you need to stop waving your arms around. right? Like, as soon as your rights start infringing on me, now we've got a problem. As soon as your free speech
streets,
is blocking roads, yeah.
Yeah, it infringes on people's freedom of movement.
Right.
And downtown Portland already sucks for traffic anyway. Like, there's just more people here than the roads can manage. And they don't want to build more roads because that means more people will be driving cars. So they just increase gas prices and make you take mass transit. Or they hope you'll take mass transit.
Well, I mean, if they want to convince people to... Because I think the problem a lot of people run into with the idea of mass transit is that when you look at mass transit, you'll notice there's a lot of, like, homeless people that use the mass transit, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful to the homeless people, but because of that, there's a lot of people that look at that and view it as unsafe, right? And that's not true.
Well, yeah,
I've taken mass transit for years. Like, it's not unsafe,
too.
But there's definitely a perception that, you know, you're less safe on a bus than other places.
Well, buses aren't so bad. Like, the buses themselves aren't so bad. It's the trains and, like, the stations that you're waiting for the bus, in my opinion, that are the dangers. Like, if you're at a train station at night, you know, in the dark by yourself, 5'3", 100-pound woman waiting for a train, you're not really safe.
True. I guess you can always wait in the bathroom until it arrives, but that's sort of stupid to need to do.
Well, we don't have bathrooms at all our stations.
You don't have bathrooms at your train stations?
No, not all of them.
Fucking, how small are these train stations?
They're not huge. Portland isn't a huge town, man.
Then what's the point of a train?
So people don't drive cars.
Fucking get a trolley system or something. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's a light rail.
Okay.
It's not like a...
See, when you say train, I'm imagining, like, double or triple decker fucking ramming through mountain tunnels.
No. Well, yeah, we do have one of those mountain tunnels, but...
Okay.
There's actually a stop in the tunnel that goes to the zoo. It's kind of cool, but...
Yeah, it actually is kind of cool.
We don't have, like, a big two-story train. It is kind of more like a... Well, when you say trolley, it kind of, like, gives you the implication that it doesn't go very fast. Which we do have a streetcar, is what we call it.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, one of those too. Trolleys normally, they don't go very fast. Like, I don't know. That's not really the point. The point is just to get around. But I can't imagine
we have one
you can't
of those
just have the train cutting through everything.
The train actually goes out all the way out to, getting into the nitty-gritty of the geography of Oregon here, but it goes all the way out to, like, Hillsboro, and I think it goes all the way out to Forest Grove.
Yeah, I kind of imagined the train
rural.
being like a commuter thing, if anything.
Yeah, it's a way to, like, get into the city or get out of the city. A lot of people take it when they're going to catch a plane to go to the airport. Instead of having to pay for parking at the airport, they'll just ride the train in.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I do know there are more events scheduled, so we'll be keeping an eye on this.
We'll keep you guys informed.
For the 4th of July, one thing, I was in a 4th of July parade on the 4th of July on Thursday. Yeah, I was in it with...
I assume you're the Grand Marshal?
Washington County GOP.
Oh, shit.
So I was marching with Republicans, openly Republican, in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was totally fine. Like, it was the Hillsboro parade, which is Hillsboro's... it's not, like, super rural area, but it's not a huge city. Like, Portland's the biggest city. but it's more of like a smaller city. Probably like 100,000 people, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 120,000 people. And we got a lot of cheers. I saw actually a lot of people, quite a few people with Trump 2020 hats on, and they were cheering, and they were very pro us, I guess. And then there was one lady though that stood out to me. There was a couple people who were like, I like the environment, and like trying to like get our goats sort of thing, like trying to imply that we're bad people because we hate the environment because we're Republicans. I don't know.
Sure.
It was weird. But there was one lady, she must have been like 80 years old, in this like little lawn chair with like her hands cupped around her mouth, like yelling, boo. And she was looking right at me because I was walking. I had an American flag around my like on my shoulders like a cape, and I had an American flag that I was waving, and I would have been waving both of them, but we didn't have enough flagpoles.
Mm-hmm. So
I decided to wear it as a cape. Anyway, and I was wearing my Make America Great Again hat.
Okay.
So, patriotic as shit. She was just booing at me, and I waved to her and just said like, Happy 4th, have a good Happy 4th of July. Like, why are you booing at me? And it reminded me of that scene in The Princess Bride where that witch is booing Buttercup.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that movie?
I have not seen The Princess Bride.
What? Okay. Podcast over. We're done. Go watch the movie. Go watch that movie. For the people who have seen it, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
We could have like a viewing party instead. Like one of these days, just have a viewing party of The Princess Bride with your favorite podcast, The Weekly Wrap.
Yes. We'll critique it from a
liberalist perspective.
Liberalist perspective, yeah. No,
the only scene
like,
I know from that movie is the dude like tricking himself into drinking poison.
Right. That's a good scene too.
It's
a good movie,
scene.
Man. It's worth a watch, But there's a scene where the princess is dreaming and she's gonna get married to the bad guy of the movie.
Oh shit.
And he announces that they're getting married, and she comes like that. She's gonna be the queen, and she comes out, and everybody kneels, and then there's this old like crone witch hag looking lady, and she's like,
boo,
she's the queen of filth, boo, boo. And then she like wakes up from her dream, but she just goes on for like 30 to 45 seconds just railing against the princess because she's married to the bad guy and everything. So it just reminded me of that, just that scene. But it was great. Like, we actually got a lot of people that were like, yeah, we support you. And we were all pretty surprised. I was actually walking with a guy who's Latino, and he ran for a seat, and he lost last election. And he's a Republican, so I think that throws people off. We actually got quite a few Latino Republicans here in Oregon, so that's good. Yeah.
Well, all right.
But so there is hope for the state in general, I think. It's just Portland.
Bin the whole thing.
Such a problem.
Nope. Bin the whole state. It's time. Whole thing has to go.
We'll just separate it into two states.
It's okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna send Texas to come annex Oregon, and then you can be like Texas too.
You mean liberate Oregon?
Yes, sorry, liberate Oregon. We're gonna liberate Oregon for its natural resources. I mean, freedom. And
liberate
you guys can...
Oregon from its Portland overlords.
That's right. Down with Ted Wheeler.
I'm liking this idea more and more.
With Ted Wheeler.
Keep talking.
Texas is going to take over. Ted Cruz is going to be the king of Texas too. It's going to be great. You guys get to be the Electric Boogaloo, Texas, so that's good.
Well, yeah, that sounds great. When does this start?
In about 30 seconds. Get ready.
Does service guarantee citizenship?
Yes.
All right, sign me up.
It's fantastic.
I'm in.
All right. On that stupid note, I think it's time for us to wrap up.
Yes. So thank you guys for joining us. Please like, subscribe, and share because YouTube won't. And
yes,
we will see you
share.
guys next week. Yes,
Peace.
please share.